All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Zavislin. I'm the CAD manager at Nolte Associates, and I'd like to welcome you to the first part of our AutoCAD 2009 upgrade training session. Just a couple of business items for our session today. There is a question and answers panel on the webinar toolkit, but because of the pace I plan on going, I probably will not take a look at that during the session, so I probably won't answer any questions. If you do post questions there, what I will try to do is get back to you via email, and I will include everybody else who attended today's session. All right, let me start off over here on the PowerPoint. Try not to kill you too much with PowerPoint slides, but just give you a little agenda for what we want to do today. We're going to start off, I'm going to give a brief overview of the applications and changes that we've made to our new workstation, which includes the AutoCAD 2009 upgrade. Ourselves in the CAD support and IT group will refer to this image as the version 7 or V7 image. It's the 7th iteration of our CAD workstation that we've been doing probably about a dozen or so years now. I'll spend a bit of time going over the Catapult application, which is a new program that we have written to replace CAD Launcher, and then I'll finish up today's session going over some of the new features of AutoCAD 2009. All right, starting off on the overview. The handouts for this session, trying to be sustainable, and all of the handouts are available online. So what I'll do is I'm going to switch over to Internet Explorer here, and we will show you how to get to and view the handouts. So I'm starting off on the My Nolte homepage here, and hopefully everybody has the CAD news panel. All right, so we'll let the display catch up with us here. All right, so in the CAD news panel, I'm going to click on the Nolte CAD support, which will take us over to the CAD support website, and the online handouts for this upgrade can be found in the second item here, the CAD 2009 workstation or workstation 2009 upgrade. So let me go ahead and click on that. And we've tried to do this all in HTML format, and I ask that you don't print any of this up. I do update it and change it from time to time. And I'm going to start on the first page here talking about the 2009 upgrade overview. This document lists all of the applications that we've installed on our standard workstation, and we can see as we come down through here. Let me scroll down a little bit. We'll see all the different, in this case, all the Bentley Hasted applications. We'll see that most of the Bentley apps are now on the their newest version, which is called V8i, and that includes Sewer, Storm, and WaterCAD. For those of you that use those applications, they did not change the interface over the V8 version, so everything we learned in the past 2 years on how to use the new WaterCAD and StormCADs still applies. It's just improved functionality and performance of those applications. For anyone using MicroStation, we'll see that we have the 3 previous versions available for any need, whether you're doing some older Caltrans V7 project work, or if you want to use the latest V8i from the Bentley folks. And we'll let you guys take a look at that on your own as we work our way through here. I'm going to scroll back up, and I want to take a look at our AutoCAD applications. And like we did with the past or previous upgrade, is we included both the current version that we are using, which is the 2007 version of Land Desktop and Civil 3D. We've also added then the most recent version, which is the 2009 Civil 3D and the 2009 Land Desktop, which you're going to have to get used to. Autodesk is now calling it the Civil 3D Land Desktop Companion. Quite a mouthful, but that's the way it's going to show up when we go through Catapult and we select our applications. On the right side of this table, I've listed all the different third-party applications that we run on top of our AutoCAD products, and you can see which version you need to use to get to which applications. Like we've done in the past, the WaterCAD, StormCAD, SewerCAD products, we can only install them on a single application. So we've chosen to move them forward, and those are all available through the Land Desktop Companion in 2009. All right, so let me jump back over to my overview here. So we talked about the build will include both the 2007 and the 2009 applications. And let me move along. We also saw the Bentley V8i as well as the V8 XM and the 7. For those of you who do GIS, all of our Esri applications have been upgraded to the 9.3 version. All right, and again, you can review that handout for all the other applications that are available. The schedule for the deployment. All right, we are currently partially deployed in Sacramento, Salt Lake, and a couple other offices. The images are available to all of the analysts, and they should hopefully be working with the CAD coordinators and developing a schedule unique to your office. My goal is to have everybody upgraded in 2 to 3 months, and working with the IT group, they've committed to getting it out as expediently as they can, and we'll hopefully have that available for you. All right. What I'd like to do is take a little break here and see who's awake and who's not. I'm going to ask some questions here, kind of get a feel for how you guys are working. So I've got a little quick poll I put up on the screen asking how often or when you use CAD here. So if you could all take a second here and answer that, and we'll go through and see as soon as I have the majority of you voting. We'll go ahead and close the poll and let you see the results on that. All right, so there's a few stragglers. It's only 4 choices. It's not that tough. All right, I'm going to close. Most of you have voted, and we will share the results with you here. Just wanted to see, so most of you are, about half of you are full-time CAD users. The majority of you, or the other portion of you, are what I call a casual user, and then the 19% only when I need something plotted I refer to as project managers. So I got a good distribution of users here. All right, so let me go ahead, and I've got another question I want to ask. All right, bear with me to try to get this through here. So I got one more question, or this question now. Do you have the 2009 products installed yet on your computer? So I want to see who has it installed, who doesn't. So I commend those of you who don't have it yet and are just that eager to learn about it that you're attending this seminar. Okay, and while you're filling this out, I also want to make you aware that I am doing these presentations again in the following months, and also live in your offices, and you can see the CAD news panel for that schedule. So I've got everybody voted now, so let me go ahead and close that poll and show you the results of that one. So not bad. About a third of you attending already have the upgrade installed, so that's good. All right, let me just work our way down. I got a couple more. This is an important one. Just for fun, I'd like to see what everybody's having for lunch with me today. Just so you are aware, this is your lunchtime, and that we are not charging our time to training for this. And we'll let you guys finish voting here. All right, looks like everybody's done clicking that, so we'll show that just so you know. Most people brought their own lunch, and unfortunately 59% of you, I will email you something to eat at the end of the session there. So I apologize for that. This is lunch, and I do want to make sure you are aware that this is voluntary. So if you don't want to volunteer, now's your chance to leave. And then the last question I want to ask just right now is which region are you calling in from, just so I can see which offices are involved and how well the email distribution and the mynolte.com CAD news panel is is used. So I'll close that down, and I can see I got quite a few people from Southern California. Looks like Utah is unaware, as well as Mexico. And then reason for that is I am going to be in Utah in a couple of weeks, so they are well aware of the in-office training, and then the Mexico City offices, we are training them via separate go-to meetings so they can do some translations. All right, well, thanks. Thanks for participating in that. It just kind of gives me a little head up on what my audience is here. All right, so I'm going to start off now. We're going to look at the Catapult application. All right, and again, like I said a little bit earlier, it does replace CAD Launcher, and I really want to stress that you use Catapult to get into your projects and also select which version of AutoCAD. And that's really kind of the one of the two main purposes that we designed Catapult for. The first one is from a single desktop icon, you can pick which AutoCAD version and profile you want to use. And then the other item is it manages our project location parameters for both land desktop and Civil 3D. So it's real critical that you do use Catapult to make sure that while you're working in land desktop or Civil 3D, you are connecting to the right set of project data. All right. I'd also like to encourage you to go to the CAD forum, which is available through the CAD forum link on mynolte.com. In there, I've created a discussion group where you can post comments, feedback, and requests for functionality for the Catapult application. So I do encourage you at some point to go and take a look at that. All right. Let me minimize this for a sec here. All right, I'm going to jump to my desktop and close down some of this. So I'm going to start off with the Catapult icon here, and it's located up at my screen. And we've made the icon's a little Nolte O with a arrow pointing up, indicating you are launching your application. All right, when it comes up, we've tried to kind of model it in a similar functionality to the old CAD launcher, but we've also added in some functionality from other programs that we liked. And noticeably is going to be your project tree here, which we modeled after the Esri Art Catalog application. And instead of showing you everything on your N drive every time you came in, we wanted to give you the option to control which projects that you saw in your tree view. And unlike CAD Launcher, which would only show you the last 5, this one you can add in any number of projects that you would like to see. All right, so let me show you first how to add a project. We can either use the buttons on the top here to add a folder, or we can come down into the project tree area here, right mouse click, and I'm going to select the Add Job folder. All right, and that comes up, will bring up a browser. Hopefully everybody's keeping their project data on the N drive. And I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to select some of my CAD training projects that I have here. And I'll go ahead and grab my TRB-0100 project. We're finding CAD Launcher works best if you stick with the project root, so I'm going to stay at that point and pick OK. And that will now add that project to my tree. And to get into it, I either pick on the little plus sign, or as I work my way in, I can double-click on the folders. And we don't query the folder until you actually select it or double-click on it. And what reason we did that is we find that the application's a lot faster than trying to have to read all of the folders in your project. All right, so let me double-click on my master folder. In the master folder, there are no subdirectories here, so I don't get the little plus icon to the left of the folder name. And then over on the right here, we have our drawing list showing me all the drawings in that project. All right, let me add another one real quickly here. So I'm going to say add another folder. It'll bring me back to my N drive, and I'll grab one of my Civil 3D classes that I'm doing here. We'll go ahead and grab that one. And I can, and if you'd like, I can work my way down to possibly the CAD folder here. So we'll pick OK to that. And we'll see now that that job's been added in. It does start in the CAD folder. So I've now limited myself to not having to see all of my documents and settings and all my other non-CAD related folders. So you can pick and choose where you're going to start looking for drawing data in your project. I also recommend having only a single branch here or a single listing for every project. Don't make a separate link here for the master folder, for the civil folder, or for your sheet drawing folder or whatever. Okay. All right, let me minimize those guys. If I don't want to have a project, I can select it here and then click the red X button. We'll delete it. Or I can select it, right-click, and remove job folder, and that will remove it from the list also. So you can kind of manage which projects you see and which ones you're going to be working on. All right, so let's get ready to open up some drawings here. So I'm in my upgrade training project here. Up at the top, you need to select which version of AutoCAD you want to be using. And again, we have the 2009 and 2007. And then Land Desktop has this big long name that Autodesk has given it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Civil 3D, and then based on which version we picked, we then get the various profiles that we can select from. All right, so let me work my way down here, and I'll go back to Land Desktop, and then pop down, and you can see here's all the different profiles. So very similar functionality to what we had in CAD Launcher. And we'll take a look at our LDT 2007, and we can see which applications are available there. All right, so let me go back. The bulk of my presentation today, I'm going to be in Civil 3D. My project has Civil 3D data in it. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to click on my master folder. I get my list of drawings over on the right. We've set it up so any of the any of the column headers here you can click on, and we can sort by that. So I can click on Modified, and it now shows me the oldest file. If I click Modified again, it now shows me the more recent files that I've worked on. Or we can click it and sort by size. Unfortunately, it's sorting alphabetic instead of numeric. Little glitch that we're still trying to figure out. And then I can also click on the name field here to sort by name. All right, so to open a file, I'm going to say let's start with our planimetric drawing. I want to make sure I'm on the Open tab down below here on the bottom portion. You can either go to Create Drawing tab, or I can switch back over and go to Open Drawing. And then down at the bottom, I can click Open, and that will fire off my application that I selected, and it will open my drawing file. Because we are setting the project parameters, you really cannot work on drawings from different projects within the same session. Land Desktop is configured really that you can only have one project active at a time while you're working in Land Desktop. Okay, Civil 3D is a little more forgiving, but we are setting in Civil 3D, the Catapult application is setting the branch or the folder location for our data shortcut information, which is setting it to the Civil 3D folder in that job. And that's how, for those of you who haven't used Civil 3D, that's how Civil 3D manages the project data. All right. Once we're inside of AutoCAD, if I go to Open, you're going to get the native AutoCAD Open and New dialog. So you can see we're not getting a CAD Launcher application, but we are going to get just your default Open. All right, let me cancel all that. Let's show it a little differently now. This time I'm going to go into Catapult here, and I'm going to use my Land Desktop. All right, so we will let the session catch up here. So I'm going to switch to my Land Desktop 2009, and we'll come into my folders here, and we'll go ahead and just do it by recent. So I'm going to open that same drawing. Okay. If your drawing is not associated with a project, Land Desktop will prompt you to select a project when you come in. But Land Desktop will also, again, we are setting the project path. All right, so it did find my project in the right location. And as soon as we get all the way in here and we're done regenning. All right, one thing I want to show is for Land Desktop now, there's some new dialogues that we as a Nolte employee have not used, and that is the project-based Open and New. So I'm going to select on my Open command here, and you get this dialog now that is a project-based Open dialog, and the new dialog is very similar to this. Again, Catapult is setting our project path to the Jobs Soft S folder. you will get a listing showing you all of the projects in that folder, and hopefully you only have one. Keep it simple. And then that project should be configured to use the CAD folder for drawings. Older projects, this may not be set correctly, so what you'll need to do is select on Project Details, and then at the bottom of the Project Details dialog, you want to change it to Fixed Path, and then you browse, and you want to browse to the CAD folder for your job, and I'll pick OK to that, and then pick OK to that, and then back in our project-based dialog, that drawing path should be correct. And this is an item that you only have to do once on any project, and once it's set up for a project, it'll be applicable to all users. All right, well, I don't have any drawings on this project in my CAD folder, so what I can do is I can pop down the folder list or the drawing path list, and you can see I can now get into my subdirectories here. So I'll click on Master, and again, here's all the drawings in my Master folder. Or if I want to look at my improvement plans, I can go to the IP folder. Okay. If your project is not very large, you can start in the CAD folder, and then down in the bottom left corner there's this option here to show subfolders. So let me toggle that, and then that will list all of my drawings, and you'll notice they're prefixed with the folder name on them. All right, so I got a drawing here that is not associated to a project, so let me open that one up. So we'll pick OK. LAN desktop can only have one drawing open at a time, so it'll close the one and open up the other. All right. Oh, and it didn't do my project setup. Oh, I've already associated with. My bad. All right, so let me show that reassociate is what you should get. So let me go ahead and reassociate. There we go. And this is the dialog that you will then get when you open drawings that have not been associated with a project. And again, if you're using Catapult correctly, you should be in the right project path. You select your project, pick OK, and that drawing is now associated up at the top here. We'll see it's associated to the correct project. All right, let me close this down. A couple other items on Catapult. Let me get back into that, and we'll let your screen catch up with us here. All right. The Recent Drawing tab is a listing of all of the files that you have opened with Catapult. It will not contain any files that you opened with the Open a New Drawing in AutoCAD. Okay. This list, the default is we sort it by date modified, but we can click on any of the headers and change the sort order. You know, if you want to do it by folder, we can modify any of those. All right, and this recent list is also filtered by version. So if I go to my LAN Desktop 2007 version, we'll see I get a different list of drawings. So as you're making the transition from 2007 to 2009, you're not going to accidentally open something in 2007 or in 2009 that you wanted in 2007. So we are sorting these lists based on version and our AutoCAD version. All right, I'm going to jump back over to the edit drawings and just show you real quickly on creating a new drawing. I want to come in, select the folder I want to create it in, and then over on the right, select the Create Drawing tab. And we start on the list here. We pick which template we want to use. So I'll use one of my Civil 3D drawing templates, and then we'll just call it New Drawing, and then you create or click the New. Okay. If you have templates located somewhere else, you can select the little ellipses button here to change or select a different template file, and then the reset button here will just reset this path back to AutoCAD's default template directory. Okay, I'm not going to click new. We're going to assume you know how to click the new button here. All right, let me jump back into my PowerPoint here. Okay. Oh. I apologize, I started it over again here. All right, AutoCAD. How are we doing on time? So I got about 35 minutes left here, so that should be plenty of time. I'll do the bulk of the AutoCAD presentation next Tuesday, so hopefully you can all attend that session. But what we'd like to look today at today for AutoCAD, and again, just go through my PowerPoint real quickly here. File compatibility. I'm going to get asked a million times, what's the compatibility between 2009 and 2007? In terms of basic AutoCAD drawing files, both versions are compatible. I can open a 2009 drawing in 2007 and vice versa. There are some of the new features in 2009 that will not behave or appear as they do in 09 and 07, but I can round trip it from 09 to 07 and back to 09, and they will maintain the functionality. And we'll see most of that next week when we look at what's called annotative text, which is a function of 2009 but is not available in 2007, but you still will be able to see your text in 2007. The main compatibility issues we're going to run into are going to be Land Desktop and Civil 3D objects. For Land Desktop, you have contour objects and Kogo point objects. They have updated those in 2009. They will appear as proxy objects in 2007. The Land Desktop projects, in terms of alignments, surfaces, point databases, all of that is compatible between the two versions. So I can have people in both AutoCAD or Land Desktop 2009 and Land Desktop 2007 working with the same project data, and they won't have any problems. It's just going to be those custom objects. For Civil 3D, most of the Civil 3D objects in 2009, you do not want to open those in 2007. They will not work correctly. So once you start working on a project in Civil 3D 2009, you're going to have to continue in 2009 for that project. All right. For the demo today, I'm going to show you the new AutoCAD 2009 interface. Some of the commands we'll look at. There's a new functionality called Quick Properties we'll touch on. We'll show you some of the new functionality for layers. A tool called Action Recorder, which is great for people who want to customize and automate, but they don't know how to write Lisp routines or script files. We'll take a quick look at some new functionality for external reference clipping, and then we'll finish up today with some of the 3D viewing tools in 2009. Next week on Tuesday for part 2, I will finish up and spend most of the time on text and annotation. So we're going to look at the new annotative text and dimensions and how those behave. We'll look at some of the new features for mText. We'll look at some of the new dimension options, some table options. They have an item called a multi-line block attribute, which is real nice. And then we'll finish up with some of the new PDF underlay and plotting tools that are available as an extension to our Civil 3D 2009. All right, so I'm done with the PowerPoint and the bulk of the yapping on this stuff here. So let me jump into the presentation. So I want to make sure I'm in my catapult here. I'm going to go use my Civil 3D 2009. And let me come in, and I got a drawing that I want to use. There it is for viewing some of our layouts here. Currently, Catapult can only open a single drawing at a time. We're working on the code to allow you to select multiple drawings, but right now I can pick one drawing, say open that, but once I'm in an AutoCAD-based profile or a Civil 3D, you can open multiple drawings here. All right, which I will do here in just 1 second. All right, so let our AutoCAD finish loading up. All right, so we're now in, this is Civil 3D 2009. Everything I'm going to be showing you right now for the next half hour is available in both the Land Desktop Companion version of AutoCAD and also the Civil 3D. So I'm not really going to show you anything that is unique or special to Civil 3D, but I do want to open up another drawing file here. And I'm going to grab that PRPN drawing just to have that one open. All right. In the handout, as we skip through here, let me click on these real quick. There is a chapter in here on the catapult that goes through pretty much everything I just showed you. I have also gone through these, and anywhere you see this little play button here, you can click on, and I've recorded AVIs, so if you don't get enough of my voice on these lunchtime sessions or when I travel to your office, you can listen to me at your leisure. I don't have these done for all of them yet, and a few of the later chapters here are going to call up an old AVI that may not apply to what you're looking at, but for the most part I'm trying to get these done over the next few weeks to give you other options. All right, so for the application window here, I'm going to scroll down and just talk about some of the terminology here. So we'll get my picture on the screen here, and we'll let the GoToWebinar catch up with me. All right, so on the screen, what I'm going to look at today is some of the new items on here. The first item we're going to see is called the ribbon bar, and I may have to go to my little highlighter here. All right, there's my spotlight. All right, so we got the ribbon bar option here, and I'm not sure this is going to keep up with me. Hopefully it is. So this is the ribbon bar across here. We're going to look at the big button at the top left corner called the menu browser. Next to that is called the quick access bar, which I don't have any configured for us just yet for our menu files. We're going to work our way around, look at what's called the Info Center, which is a interactive help utility, which is real nice. Then we're going to come down to the bottom and look at our status bar, and I'm going to turn off my little icon, and I need that back. Oh, too much. Okay, we're going to look at the settings buttons at the bottom of the status bar. We're looking at quick view layouts, quick view drawings, and our workspace. So just kind of let you see some of the terminology on here. All right, so the ribbon bar is a new interface, and hopefully everybody's used to seeing this in Microsoft Word and Excel, and you're probably hopefully using it a little bit more. Well, Autodesk, in their attempt to be Windows compliant, is also using a similar interface. Currently, it's only AutoCAD commands, and then I've created one for end tools with some of our end tool functionality, but you're not going to find any ribbons for Civil 3D or Land Desktop. I have seen 2010 and Civil 3D is going to have ribbons for the Civil 3D programs. All right, this little button on the right side of the menu bar lets you change the magnitude of what you're seeing in terms of the display. So right now I've minimized it where it's just showing the tabs. If I click it again, it'll expand it and show you all the ribbon panels. So there's our End Tools panels. Let me click back over to the home one here. With the panels expanded, anywhere you see this little down arrow on the right corner of a panel, you can click on that. So I'll click on it for the draw palette, and it'll expand that panel, showing you some additional command buttons. So what they've tried to do is configure this to where you got your most common commands in the main part of the palette, but if you click on the little button, you can expand that and have additional options. All right, and you'll see as I move my focus to other panels, the expanded one will collapse. Okay. I can also pick on a panel and drag it and drop it to a new location. So we'll drag our annotation over, and I can drag it around and put it back. When you save a workspace, it'll save these locations for you. I can also tear off a panel. So let me do that. I'm going to grab the annotation and I'm going to drag it down into my drawing area, and then I'll let go of that, and it'll actually tear it off and have it float independently. So if I minimize these, I can have whichever panel I want to be working with down in my AutoCAD environment. To put a panel back up into the ribbon, I'm going to pick on this little button on the right side here that says Send to Ribbon, and that'll pop it back up to my ribbon panel here. So you can see my text panel is here back on the top. So again, we can use this little button to cycle through and look at the different items on our ribbon. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where it's just showing me the headers. I will be using this later on. All right, upper left corner is our menu browser. and it's the big button here. Depending on which version of AutoCAD you're running, you'll have different letters here. And what this is, this potentially can replace all your pull-down menus. So instead of having your menu bar going across the top of your screen, you can get to all your menus through the menu browser here. So you can see as I come through and highlight on them, and as you come in and click on it, you get your flyout menus. All right, just like you would in your menu browser. Okay. Other items you're going to see on here is we got our recent documents, open documents, so I can switch my drawings as quickly as that. Okay. In these document tabs, we can click on this little button up here in the upper right corner, and we can change how they're displayed. So I can say I just want to see icons. As I hover on a drawing, you will get a thumbnail and data about that drawing, so you get a little bit more information about what you're looking at. Or you can pick different size icons to display. Okay, and these icon settings apply to recent documents and also open documents. Okay, so the same setting applies to both of those. Okay, where the menu browser I think is real powerful, it's this option up at the top to search the menus. All right, so I'm in Civil 3D, I've got surfaces, I maybe want to do a volume calc, I have no idea which command to use, so I'm going to type in volume, and you'll see as I start typing, it will actually search through all of my menus and show me the commands it found with the word volume in it. So it found under the surfaces menu, it found volumes and bounded volumes, it found volumes under grading, and then sections and annotation. All right, so I can go and click on any of these as if I was clicking them from the pull-down menu. If I'm going to clear my search, I click on the X button adjacent to the search word, and we can try some others. So say I'm maybe looking for some layer commands. So we found I've got some layer commands in End Tools and Standards Manager, and then I've also got related results where it found the word layer in the help for an item here. So you see as I hover on the purge command, my tooltip pops up, and you'll see that the word layer does appear in the tooltip for that item. Okay, so a real neat way to get into our commands here. So I'll say, well, let's do my standards layer create. All right, so I'll do my layer create, make layers, and all that other stuff, and I get all my layers made. Okay, any command that I access through the menu browser will show up down at the bottom here under recent actions. So I can see there's the command I just used. It'll keep track of ones that I've used, so if I go back and hit something frequently, I don't have to go hunting through the menus for it. Anywhere you see this little push pin, I can click on that, and that will actually lock this in the menu browser, so the next time I come into my AutoCAD, my Standards Manager layer create command will be at that location. Okay. All right, so that's the menu browser, kind of working our way around here. The Info Center, our Communication Center, is the online help. So again, maybe I'm looking for information on volumes, and I'll click on the search button here. All right. And it will then pop down with listing of results from various locations. So it found volumes under my AutoCAD User's Guide, which doesn't make sense because I don't know AutoCAD Calc's volumes. But we see under Civil 3D it's found some links to some grading tools from the User's Guide. Right now it's set up to show only 5 items, so I've got a little button over here in the header that I can click on and page through all the options that matched my search criteria here. I've also got from my AutoCAD command reference, but then down at the bottom it's also searching the Autodesk online search or knowledge base, and it's found a couple of items there that meet my criteria. So a real nice utility to allow you to query multiple help documents simultaneously, as opposed to going to the help and knowing which help to go to. You can configure this, and there's a little button here for settings up at the top, so let me click on that. And in here you can tell it where you want to search. So right now I've got it searching in a whole bunch of locations. The grayed out ones you cannot change. These were set by the CAD Manager utility. The other ones we've let that you can turn on and off what you want to see. Okay, so if you don't want to ever search the knowledge base, we can click that off, and it will no longer search the Autodesk Online knowledge base. But I go ahead and leave all of these on. You can also add your own help files. So if you know some other help files you'd like to search, you can click on this and go select the appropriate help document. And if I can get this to scroll over here, you'll see that the help documents are those .chm files, so you can add in additional ones. All right. Other tools on here, this little satellite dish is the Communications Center, which will give you links directly to the online e-learning with our subscription, and then any information that Autodesk may publish about tips and tricks or updates and things like that. All right, so that's the Info Center. Status bar down at the bottom of our AutoCAD window. A couple things you're going to see down here is all of our settings buttons are now displayed as icons. Okay, and if you don't like the icons, you right-click on one of them and you toggle off Use Icons, and then you get back the text buttons that we're used to in 2007. I'm kind of getting used to the icons, so I'm going to come back in here and tell it to use the icons. All right, an item is enabled if it is blue, so let me turn on my Object Snap. All right, so now you'll see that the Object Snap icon is highlighted in blue. A couple other things they've done on these that's real nice is they've added some of the settings to the shortcut menu you get. So again, for Object Snaps, if I right-click on that, instead of having to go into Settings to toggle which Object Snaps I want to have, they actually appear in the menu now. All right, and currently the only one that's active is the endpoint auto snap, and you can tell because it has this rectangular or square box highlighting it. So if I turn on center O snap, and we'll come back into that, and we'll see now the center and the endpoint object snaps have the little blue box drawn around their icons. I can always go into the settings options here and turn them off and on here also, but just some utility they've thrown in to try to make it a little bit quicker for you to manage those settings. Same thing, polar tracking. They have some of the default polar, common polar angles that you'd want to use for setting your polar snap. Okay. Other items you're going to see along here, we've got some new buttons for switching between model and layout. These will appear if you turn off your layout tabs. Okay, you can see I don't have a model or layout tab. I now can switch back and forth by clicking on these buttons down at the bottom here. All right. Next to that, I've got an item here called Quick View Layouts, which is kind of a neat little trick here. So let me click on that. And what it'll do is it'll present a thumbnail image of every layout that I have in this drawing. Okay, I know Nolte Standard says I only have a single layout per sheet. I have a working drawing I created here to give you a demo of how this works. So what you can do with this then is say I want to go to this plan and profile sheet. I click on the image, and it will then open up that plan and profile sheet. Or if I want to go to my layout 1, which is the overall view, I can click on that image, and it'll take me right to that one. Okay. I've got my quick view layouts pinned right now, so what that means is I can go in and I can do AutoCAD stuff, so I can pan my drawing around and or do commands, and the quick view layouts will stay visible. All right, a couple other things you'll see on the quick view is as you hover on an image, you get a button in the upper left corner which will let you run the plot command on this layout, or over on the right you have a button that will let you publish the current layout. Okay, and then on the little toolbar that comes with it, they also have a publish command that will let you select and publish all of the layouts. All right, let me unpin this. So now with it unpinned, as I do a command, in this case I just panned a little bit, the quick view layouts will go away. All right, so that was this button down here on our status bar called Quick View Layout. Next to that is one called Quick View Drawings, which is similar to Quick View Layout, but it shows me all of my open drawings. As I hover on a drawing, it will then show me the layouts in that drawing, and then I can work my way by moving my cursor up to the layout. I can click on Model, and it will then take me to the model view of that drawing. Okay, or I can come back down over to my multiple layout drawing here and work my way up to any of the layouts that I would like to see. Click on that, it will switch to that drawing and set that layout active. Okay, so that's Quick View Layouts, Quick View Drawings. The Quick View Drawing toolbar, again, I can pin or unpin it at the bottom, and then they also have new open commands. And then the X button will close those down. All right, so let me go back into model space here. How am I doing on time? I never have enough time. All right. I'm going to skip some of these items here with the scale. These are going to be used next week when we do the annotative text. It controls the text type that you see in your model space area. And I'm going to show you this one here. This little gear button is how you get into your workspace. All right, we still have a workspace toolbar, but instead of having that toolbar, they've added it as a button. So I can come in here and say, well, I want to go to my map 3D workspace. So you'll see it'll swap everything out. I will get all my map menus and my AutoCAD menus, and I get my map task pane. Okay, when I want to go back to my Civil 3D, I'll come down here, click on my workspace, and then go back into my Civil 3D. All right, so that's all the layouts, or all the buttons along the bottom. What I'd like to do, a couple of things you'll notice as I've been working on these, we've been getting a lot of tooltips popping up everywhere. So if I hover on a command here, so let me hover on the line command. If I leave my cursor there long enough, you will get what's called this extended tooltip. So you get this big tooltip. Let me do it again. I'll go onto my 3-point arc. So I get just a regular tooltip. If I leave my cursor there long enough, I get an extended tooltip showing me more detail. Okay, I can also hit F1, and it'll actually bring help up on this command for me, so I don't have to go searching through help to find how to draw a 3-point arc. Okay, you'll also see as I hover in my drawing file here, if I can find something that's not Civil 3D, let me draw a line in here real quick. As I hover on a line, oops, I got it turned off. Let me go into my options here. So I'm going to go in my AutoCAD options. All right, and then on display, under Show Tooltips section here, you can control whether or not you see those extended tooltips, and you can also change the delay on how long you have to wait before those pop up. The Rollover Tooltip, which I was trying to show you, it's not going to work in Civil 3D because Civil 3D's got its own object tip that's trying to show, but it'll show you tooltips on actual objects. It'll show you that a line is a line and what layer they are turned on. All right, so but here's where you can go. I don't want to see extended. I don't want to see the shortcut keys, or you can turn off tooltips altogether, or you can turn on and off the object tooltips. Okay, but just as you see, they do pop up everywhere. Let me get rid of that line. All right, quick properties. I'm going to switch using Civil 3D here. This drawing I can get the tooltip. So there's the rollover tooltip. So that's an arc, shows me the layer. Okay, but there's a new button now on our status bar here called Quick Properties, and what this does is as I select an object, I get a properties, shortened properties dialog will pop up with selected items for that object type. So as an arc, I can change its color, layer, line type. If I want to change anything else, then I need to go into the properties command. Okay, if I hit escape, that goes away. Let me pick on one of these lines. So I'll select this line, and you can see I get the line object. Or if I pick multiple objects, they will all show up, and you can see I can change different properties. You know, maybe I change the line type here. We'll go dashed. Okay, not that I want to do that, but it's just a way to have your properties show up without keeping the properties window on the screen all the time. So let me change these back to by layer here. All right, so we can modify select properties. This can be customized, but unfortunately the way we've configured our menus, we can't do that in our image. Okay, what you can change with quick properties is, let me go into the settings for quick properties. And on this, you can tell it which objects to display it for, but more importantly, you can control the location. And right now it's set to be near our cursor, to the right and above, and we're going to go 50 pixels. Okay, but if you want to float and control manually where it's located, we'll set it to float mode. So now as I pick an object in my drawing, so I'll select one of these lines here, it will show up near my drawing, but now I can drag and move it to a new location on my screen. And now it will stay at that location. So when I escape, nothing is selected, and I come over here, I'll pick one of my arcs, and the quick properties will now show up at that fixed location. So you can either have it float at a fixed location that you pick and choose, or we can come into our settings here, and I can tell it to always locate at my cursor. Okay. Let me go ahead and pick OK to that. And then the other option here is on the button. I can turn off quick properties, so now when I select an object in my drawing, I'm not getting that quick properties dialog. All right. All right, let me switch around. Let me switch back to the other drawing here. Okay, let me open. I want to open a file. So I'm going to open, and I got a drawing with some layers set up in it for me here. And we're going to take a look at the layer dialog and the new layer property manager dialog here. And let me minimize those guys real quickly here. So I got a drawing, a lot of XREFs, lots of layers here. I want to show now, as I go over here to my layer properties dialog, it now pops up. It is now a tool space, just like we're seeing with properties and other commands. And you'll see as I'm not using it, it collapses. I can go do AutoCAD stuff. I can pan and zoom. And my properties, layer properties is still here, and I can come in and use it at any time. It's also real-time feedback. You'll see that there's no longer an OK or apply button on this, so as I make changes to layer settings here, I will see those changes in my drawing. I've got a layer filter set up for my contours just so I don't have to go through and hunt through stuff. So I'm going to say let's change my minor contours, and we'll come in and we'll make them, come on, we'll go cyan and pick OK. So you see as soon as I change that color property in the layer manager, that layer changes. So you can see my contours are now cyan, and we'll come back in, we'll change those back to color 21. And again, that's instantaneous feedback. Same thing when I turn layers off. As I click the light bulb, I'm getting that instantaneous results in my drawing. Okay, so real nice. It's a wish list item I know that people have been asking for many years to have inside of AutoCAD. All right, let me go back to all here. The filter tree, I can now minimize that by clicking on one of the little double arrow buttons either above or below. So go ahead and minimize that. So now I don't see the filter tree, but I can get to my filters through this button down here in the lower left corner. And so you can see there's all my filters again. So we'll switch it back. And if I want my tree, we can expand it just as easily by clicking that button again. All right. Another functionality they've added in is you now see this heavy bar next to my layer name column. And what I've done here is I've actually frozen this column, so as I scroll my columns to the right, my layer name will stay visible, so I can now see which layers I'm selecting as I pick on them and work on the items in my drawing. So that's a nice functionality. I can enable and disable that by coming down, right-clicking on the column header and then picking unfreeze. So now you'll see that they pan all the way across as I move my slider. Okay, let me bring it back. Or I can say maybe I want to see layer states, so I can come over here, right-click on my freeze column, and then I'll pick freeze. So now it will hold, let me rearrange these a little bit, it will hold those three columns as I pan or scroll my layer listing. Okay, so that's some of the new functionality in there. Share everything else we do. Let me take a quick look here at settings, and we'll come back and address these in just a little bit here. Couple of new features for layers that you can control through the layer settings is an item here called layer notification, and this will let you know whenever you open a drawing that there are new layers. I get a complaint all the time that I opened a drawing, I plotted Mylars, I sent it out to the county for review, not realizing somebody had opened one of the XREFs, made a layer, and put information on that. This will actually notify you when that happens. The other new functionality we'll take a look at here is we have this isolate layer option here, that when you lock a layer, it will now display as faded, and this is applied when we do layer isolate. So I'll show that one also in just a bit here. The other settings are what we're used to in 07. All right, so let's play with some of this. So let me come in, and I'm going to do this off my Layer 2's toolbar here. So there's my Layers toolbar so you can see it. So I've got my Layer Isolate button here. So I'm going to do Layer Isolate, and I hope I have some objects. So we're going to grab maybe our curb and sidewalk layers. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit enter on that. So as it isolates, and I hope this will show fairly well through the GoToWebinar interface, but you should still be able to see very faintly on here some of the contour lines and some of the lot lines. So by having, let me zoom out just so you can see a little bit more, so it makes it real nice that I can isolate layers. Instead of turning them off, it just tones them back, but I can still draw to these now. So let me draw a polyline here and turn on my N.0 snap, and you'll see I can still snap to these isolated objects. All right, whereas if you turn them off, I can't use them for anything. So it's a real nice functionality. I can also, let me come back into my my ribbon panel here. On my layers, if I expand that, I can control that intensity of how bright or how faded those locked layers are. Okay, so I can control that. And when I'm done with being isolated, I can come in here and say layer unisolate, and it will reset them all back. All right, and the same thing happens when I lock layers. So if we come back into our layer list here, we'll see as I lock my contours, and hopefully I pick ones that you can see. Oh, and it's not going to do it. Let me. Okay, it's not doing it. My bad on my demo here. The reason it's not locking these is because these are Civil 3D surfaces, and the contour lines, even though they are using the EXTO CNMA layers for properties, they are actually on a different layer. So that's why those didn't isolate. So that's I am bad for leading you astray there. All right. I think what I'll do is, unfortunately, I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to this is the first time I've done this session, so I'm not really sure how long it takes to get through all this. So we will add the action recorder to the next session, and what I'll do is I'll finish up today talking about the XREF clipping. It's a neat little feature here. And actually, I can't do that yet. I got to do one other thing on layers here. Let me switch quickly to my layout tab. And what I want to just show you in layouts, I'm in this viewport. You can now, by layer, not only freeze and thaw viewports, but I can actually change color and line type properties here. So let me select my two contour layers here, and I'm going to change their color. We'll go blue on that. And what you'll see now is in one viewport they show up as blue, in the other viewport they show up as their typical properties. So let me click into this viewport so you can see they are using their default colors, and I come back into the viewport on the right and they'll show as blue. If you do viewport overrides, you'll also notice in my layer dialog they show up highlighted as blue. So you can see these two layers have overrides. To remove an override, I can right-click on it. Let me try that again. I can right-click on it, and there's an option in the menus here to remove the override. So I right-clicked on color. I have an option to remove the color, and you can do it either in this viewport, all viewports, or I can do all layers, or if I right-click over here, I can say all layers in all viewports, clear all the properties, and it will reset them back to what their default value is. So that's kind of a neat little trick there. So it allows us more control over how we assign pen weights and colors. All right, wrapping it up here. XREF clipping, I want to clip my contours here, so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to use the clip XREF command on my existing topo drawing, and I'm going to make a new boundary, and there's a new option now you'll see on the command line called Invert Clip, and what I can do with this is instead of clipping the outside of the boundary, I can clip the inside of the boundary, and you have to apply this when you create the clip. I can't change it once I've clipped it. So I'm going to do I for invert, and I'm going to do P for polygon, and what I'll do is let me turn off my object snap, and I'm just going to draw a real quick polygon around my site here. And we'll come to that point now. So as soon as I hit enter, what you'll see is it will clip the contour XREF within the limits of my site. So if you've ever done this in prior versions of AutoCAD, you had to make a little island with a little tunnel to clip in and hide the area within, or you cheated and you attached the XREF twice or inserted it twice and you clipped one half one way and the other half the other way. This just makes it real nice again for us to be able to control how these items look. All right, well, my timer tells me I'm at 1 hour here. I apologize for I get a little long-winded sometimes, but I get excited and want to show you everything. Next Tuesday, hopefully you can all attend. We will look at the action recorder, the 3D viewing, and then we'll follow up with a lot of the text, the annotative text and functionality in mText and tables. So thank you for attending today. When you exit, there will be a small questionnaire, kind of like our Nolte employee review, our training review form. I do have some long-winded questions on there about what you'd like to see in training and what more you'd like to see when I come to your office to do these presentations. So thank you everybody who attended. If you would like to attend next week's session, I will be emailing all of you who did attend today with the link for that session, and hopefully you can attend that one. So again, thank you for attending.